Okay, so there's been historically, if one wrote to a rabbi or to a Hasidic Rebbe, the principle was you only wrote about spiritual matters, things which were bothering you in spiritual terms. All of that changed with the Lubavitcher Rebbe when people began to write to him about things of a very materialistic, material nature, like, what color curtains to have in the living room and things like that. And he would very patiently answer those letters. Here's a person who writes from Brookline, Massachusetts. That's Boston. Brookline is the area where a lot of Jewish people live. And he has 2 job offers, and he doesn't know which one to accept. And he's asking the Rebbe's advice on which of these 2 job offers to help him to analyze it and to think through which is going to be the better proposition over here. So how are you going to deal with this? How's the recipient, the Rebbe, going to deal with this? First of all, he says, I'm very pleased to note that your letter is in a much more optimistic mood than some of your letters in the past, and I hope that will continue. And he said, now, of the 2 offers that you write, he said, I agree with you. The first one would entail living in a place which is devoid of Yiddishkeit, and therefore that for you would not be acceptable. It's not acceptable, not only because of the difficulties it would entail in terms of maintaining your living standards as far as Yiddishkeit is concerned, but also because it demonstrates the atmosphere prevailing in the company and its attitude towards Jews, not only religious Jews, but Jews in general. So some people, Chabad Shluchim, will go into an area where there's no Yiddishkeit whatsoever, and it's, they're going to hang in over there. There's no kosher food, there's no mikveh, there's none of it. In this particular instance, it's not going to be good for this particular person. And the Rebbe suspects there's something about this particular company that is not conducive to making a person. Why put yourself in an uncomfortable position, if you don't have to. In regard to the second offer, he said, I agree with you that although they have the inconvenience of a lot more travel, half an hour a day, but it sounds like a more suitable and conducive environment. And then he goes and offers some very, very practical advice. He said, you do very well to clarify the reason for the vacancy. Why is there a job available over here? Why did the present occupant leave the position? Why is the position open? Is it a newly created position? In which case, it would be much better to find out how steady this is going to be. Is it a good job? In other words, do your due diligence before you accept it. And then finally, he goes on to say the following. He said, it's one has to see these opportunities as a way to demonstrate, that a strictly observant Jew can occupy a high professional position and enjoy the respect of the community at large. Experience has shown that a message of this kind emanating from a layman is more effective and penetrates more deeply and reaches a wider audience than if it comes from a rabbi, a Rosh Yeshiva, or the like. In other words, if a rabbi is remaining, in difficult circumstances, is keeping kosher and Shabbat and everything else, no, he's paid for it. He's a rabbi. What do you expect? But if a person in business, in any kind of professional context, etc., lives to a high standard of moral conduct and shows himself to be an Orthodox Jew, the Rebbe was very, very certain that this had a massive beneficial impact upon the wider community and upon non-Jews. And he would always encourage people to see themselves not just as taking a job for my convenience, but I'm a shaliach, I am a messenger, I am a representative of the Jewish nation, I'm a representative of God, and therefore I need to maintain the highest standards. And if I can show that I live as an Orthodox Jew amongst people who are, not Jewish, he said that is Kiddush Hashem. That is part of the special role that became available to us in this modern time, and particularly in America. And that's the particular line that he wants to take here.